Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. In this video, I'm going to perform a short review of the latest tooled Graham Farish Class 08. Farish have released the Class 08 in quite a number of different liveries already, and have more liveries slated for delivery in the coming months. These include the Intercity Swallow, Engineers Grey, Railway Support Services, Network Rail Yellow, BR Green and BR Blue, Mainline Freight, BR Provincial and LMS Black. Because I'm modelling the BR Tops era, I've gone for the BR Blue liveried option, and have also opted to get the weathered and sound-fitted version. The exact product code of the loco I'm reviewing is shown on the end of the box and can be seen on screen now. The loco comes packaged in the usual Graham Farish hard plastic box and is held in place by a separate flexible plastic box within the hard plastic box, which keeps the loco safe and sound while in transit or when it's not on the layout. Opening up the box, other than the loco and instruction sheets, there's an accessory pack which has an abundance of separate parts that can be used to enhance the model and includes various pipes, hooks and couplings. There are diagrams on where to fit these additional parts included in the instructions. The instructions also detail the lubrication points as well as how to remove the body shell from the chassis should it be required. The loco is fitted with a coreless motor, has pickups on all wheels and has a Next18 decoder socket. As my model has sound, the loco is fitted with a Zimo MX659N18 sound decoder and has an 8 ohm 0.5 watt speaker fitted. Unfortunately, the loco doesn't have any lights, which is a shame as they would have enhanced the model considerably in my opinion. In terms of sounds though, the loco has many available, which are all detailed in the instruction sheet. Here are a few of them to give you an idea of how they sound. As this is a model that's been weathered by the factory, I was interested to see how good a job had been done. Overall, I was quite impressed, although I'd say that only light weathering had been applied. Dirt and grime seems to have been placed in all of the right places, with the bogie frame and exhaust outlets being the most obvious areas of build-up. The bodywork itself is very lightly weathered, but not unrealistically in my opinion. Aside from the weathering, other painted details on the model are very good. The underlying BR Blue paintwork is nicely applied, as is the wasp striping on front and rear of the loco. I haven't spotted any paint bleed or chipping, which I've seen previously on Graham Farish models, especially around the window frames. Most of the bodywork detail appears to be moulded, which isn't to say that it lacks detail. There is actually quite a lot of detail present within the moulded side panels and doors, which include rivets, handles, hinges and grills. The front and rear of the loco are nicely modelled, with the front having a moulded yellow grille combined with separately fitted parts that represent pipework, cables and, as already mentioned, non-functional lighting. Similarly, the rear of the loco also has separately fitted cables and lights and lamp brackets, as well as some fine fitted windscreen wipers and some excellent painted wasp stripes. Other separately fitted parts on the loco include the handrails on either side of the cab and the side rails on each side of the loco body, all of which have been picked out in white. I also believe that the door handles of the cab doors have been separately fitted and are picked out in silver. The whistle also looks like it's a separately fitted part. I was very impressed with the many and various transfer details that have been applied to the model. There are quite a few electricity warning plates in various positions on the model, and these are absolutely tiny, but under a macro lens are quite legible. The TOPS data panel, a gauge on a tank on the side of the cab with main tank clearly visible in tiny writing below it, the running number and the BR Arrows logo are all nice and crisp and neatly applied, and I'm afraid that my photographs don't do them justice. I'm operating the model using DCC, and straight out of the box the loco was absolutely terrible. Even after running in, the loco was problematic, as it simply failed to respond to DCC commands in many situations, or simply cut out. However, when it did work, the loco seemed to be geared realistically, and had a sensible range of speeds without having to monkey with the CV values. After owning the loco for quite a few months, a fix for the running problems was finally found, which came about after many comments from you guys. It turned out that during the weathering process there had been some overspray onto the wheels, and while cleaning this off I also noticed that there was a stray pickup that needed readjusting. Since making these modifications, the Class 08 has run flawlessly. Having had so much trouble in getting the loco to run properly, and with me being a complete novice at handling N-gauge locos, I decided to leave the loco intact and opted not to take a look inside. I make no apologies for this, especially when the instructions inform me that there are tiny clips keeping the body attached to the chassis that could easily be lost. Thankfully, my very simplistic maintenance got the loco working correctly. However, if you'd like to take a look inside, I can point you in the direction of Rich, who, as well as having a fantastic channel, has looked inside of the Class 08 and modified it to such an extent that Farish should be watching so they can make similar modifications for their next release. I've left a link to his channel, This Way Works, in the description of this video. Being a Graham Farish model, it almost goes without saying that this is a very well put together model. It is solidly built and has plenty of weight considering its size. In fact, it weighs in at over 40 grams and is nearly 10 grams heavier than the Hunslet I reviewed previously. The extra weight in such a small model is essential for allowing it to pull longer rakes of rolling stock, which is a definite plus point. The weathering of the loco is quite subtle, but I think it works really well. The quality of the model is only let down by the weathering overspray that resulted in paint getting onto the wheels, which along with a misplaced pickup prevented the loco from running correctly. I purchased this sound-fitted and weathered model from Derails for the rather large sum of £216.70, including VAT, although I think they're retailing at around the £200 mark at the moment. This is no small amount to pay, and regardless of detail, quality or features, I think that everyone expects their loco to run straight out of the box. This one didn't, unfortunately. Putting running issues aside, although it's an excellent model with great sounds and great running capabilities, I can't realistically say that the sound-fitted version represents good value for money. I know that sound-fitted locos tend to cost around £100 more than non-sound-fitted ones, and if you're okay with paying that, then fine. For me though, the numbers just don't add up, and the non-sound-fitted versions definitely represent better value for money. So, would I purchase this loco again, knowing what I now know? Well, that's a difficult question to answer. I love the details, the subtle weathering, the excellent selection of sounds, the great pulling power, and the realistic speed response of the loco. However, I find it hard to recommend the sound-fitted version because of the price, especially as it doesn't include any lighting features or a stay alive. I'm also trying really hard not to take into account that it didn't run correctly straight out of the box, but because other people have also had this issue, I think it has to be a factor. Now that I've got the loco working flawlessly, then yes, it's a cracking little loco, and I have a bit of a soft spot for it, so I would probably chance my arm and purchase another one. However, if all I was after was a diesel shunting loco and wasn't interested in sound, then I'd opt for the N-Gage Society's Hunslet over the Graham Farish Class 08 every single time. Okay, so as usual, I've tried to keep the review as short as possible while mentioning as much as possible, so I hope I haven't missed anything out that you'd have liked to have heard about. Of course, I'd be very interested in your feedback. If you've got one of these models, what are your experiences with it? Are they similar to mine, or are they completely different? Let me know in the comments section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully there'll be another review along soon. Bye.